Hi guys, we're going to continue our work with solving two-step equations, and I'm going to call this solving two-step equations part 2. So you'll see I'm using just a regular organizer, and in the middle I've done two-step equations part 2. Our directions for all of these are solving. So every single one of them we're doing exactly the same thing. Now the good news is the 5 problems that you see are the only 5 problems that we're going to do today. So because they're kind of 2 steps, I want to make sure that you're good to go as far as understanding them. So I'm going to start with A here. So I have 3p plus 4 equals 19. So my first step has to be to get, or I have to work in this first step to getting the 3p by itself. So the opposite of adding 4 is subtracting 4. Remember, whatever you do to one side of the equal, you do to the other. So those cancel out to 0. It's 3p. And then 19 minus 4 is 15. Then to get p by itself, right here I have 3 times p. So the opposite of multiplying by p is dividing by 3. So I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. So these cancel down to 1. I'm left with 1p. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay, so very similar to what we did the last time, except it's going to take 2 steps to be able to get the variable by itself. Okay, I'm going to turn this to go to the next one. So I have negative 6k plus 13 equals 83. So I'm going to start to get this by itself first by getting rid of this. So the opposite of adding 13 is subtracting 13. So these 13s cancel to 0. Left with negative 6k on that side. 83 minus 13 is going to be 70. Ooh, there we go. Now, if I'm going through to try to get k by itself, now I need to get rid of this negative 6. So that's negative 6 times k. So the opposite of multiplying by negative 6 is dividing by negative 6. So those cancel, I'm left with k. And I know already that if I put 70 over negative 6 on my calculator, it's not going to give me a whole number, but it will reduce to negative 35 over 3. So that's my final answer. Now listen, some of these are going to come out evenly, like a whole number. Some of them aren't. So you got to have a strategy for all of it. Okay, let me turn the paper so I can get the next one. So this one is 17 parentheses x plus 5 equals 0. So the first thing that we're going to do before we can work on this part is to distribute this number. So 17 is going to get distributed to both of those. And remember, when I distribute it, that means it's going to be multiplied. So 17 times x is 17x. And then 17 times positive 5 is positive 85 equals 0. So now I'm going to work to get x by itself. So I'm going to get rid of this first. So the opposite of adding 85 is subtracting 85. So these cancel to 0. I'll be left with 17x. 0 minus 85 would be negative 85. Now I have to worry about getting the variable alone, so I need to get rid of this. So the opposite of multiplying by 17 is dividing by 17. So these cancel down to 1. I'm left with x. Negative 85 divided by 17 is negative 5. Okay, and let's go to the next one. Sorry, just looking for the handle here to turn it. There we go. Now I have x divided by negative 3 minus 2 equals 9. So to get this by itself, I've got to get rid of this first. So the opposite of subtracting 2 is adding 2. So those cancel to 0. I'm left with x over negative 3. And then on this side, 9 plus 2 is going to give you 11. Now, to get x by itself, I'm going to have to get rid of this divided by negative 3. So the opposite of dividing by negative 3 is multiplying by negative 3. Remember, you got to do both sides. Those cancel down to 1, and you get 0. Then 11 times negative 3 is negative 33. And that's your final answer. Okay, one more left. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this one is negative 7 equals negative 11 plus v over 5. So a lot of people don't like this problem because where the variable is, they prefer it to be on this side. So if that would help you, you can actually take these two pieces right here and switch them. So negative 11 plus v over 5 equals negative 7. Okay, now we're going to go through and kind of keep working. It does look a little different because of the way it's written. So this is a variable I want by itself. So I have negative 11 here. So the opposite of negative 11 is positive 11. So that's my reminder to add 11. So these cancel to 0. I have v over 5. And negative 7 plus 11 is positive 4. Now, in order to get v alone, I've got to get rid of this. So the opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. So those cancel. I'm left with v. 4 times 5 is going to be 20. Okay, again, as I've said over and over, you need to keep going over these to make sure that you really understand the process and know what you need to be doing. Okay, we'll practice some more in class.